So, guys, I want to illustrate to you guys something, right? I don't know if you guys caught on to just what happened. So 4 girls were in the back, right? Clearly they had a problem with some of my worldviews, and they didn't want to say anything to debate, which is interesting. And this is precisely why women should never be in positions of power. They cannot defend their positions. What's up, man?
Hey, so is the premise ICE did nothing wrong?
Obviously, it's a little bit of hyperbole, but for the most part, I think they're doing more good than bad.
Okay, so how are you defining wrong?
They're not breaking the law for the most part.
They're not breaking the law?
Yeah, they're enforcing immigration law.
Not really.
How are they not?
What's going on? Where's the due process?
Well, they are getting due process, but they're getting due process within an immigration court, which is an entire different process than a criminal
No, they're
court.
not. They're being picked up at immigration courts. We've seen the video. We've seen the evidence. While they're doing the legal process, right, they're being picked up going through the legal actual process. So how are they doing nothing? How is ICE doing nothing wrong? They're stopping them from going through the actual legal process.
So here's the thing. When they're getting picked up at these immigration courts, they have no status, okay? So the way we've been doing things for a while now has been aliens have been able to stay in the United States with no status and kind of pending things. But the reality is when you don't have status, you're still removable. So what they're doing is, especially in New York City, where it's a sanctuary city, and this has been going on for a very long time, they're picking up these people that don't have status. So as an illegal alien, their methodology of due process within the immigration courts is completely different to that of what you're familiar with of a criminal court.
Sir, they're picking up people who one, do have a status. Two,
no, they don't.
That's
why they're getting picked up.
No, they're picking up people at their actual court hearings that they're known.
Yes.
Right?
So either the immigration judge is ordering them removed, they don't have status, whatever it may be. But if they're getting picked up at the immigration court, that means probably more than likely what happened was the judge rendered that they don't have status to stay in the United States.
Right, but they're going...
Hence why they're getting arrested.
These folks are going through the legal process, right? They're going through the process. There are folks that are actively either they're on certain visas, they have certain green cards, whatever. Those are folks who are actually known, who are actually on set. ICE has picked up those people too. Why are they doing that?
Because they violated their visa to some degree.
Is freedom of speech a violation of your visa?
What was that?
Is freedom of speech a violation of your visa?
I actually agree with you on that one, where what they did to Mahmoud Khalil and these other individuals who were protesting against well, they used anti-Semitism as the reason, even though it's bullshit. But I actually agree that they should not be picked up for political speech.
So yeah, we can at least agree that...
We can agree on that.
What it is, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is...
Deporting students for political speech that are here legally on student visas is deplorable.
Yeah, 100%. So we both agree with that.
Yeah.
But my friend... what I'm saying is that what they are doing is arresting American citizens in the night. They're arresting people.
And can you just speak up so everybody can hear you too? So that
they're arresting American citizens in the night. They're arresting, and they might be just detaining them and holding them.
Yeah.
But still, like, they're arresting American citizens and their children. One. Two, they're picking up people who are going to their actual, like, okay, I need to go through the process of going through the legalization process. So they're picking up people while they're actually trying to do that. And the Supreme Court just ruled that they're able to profile brothers and sisters that look just like me and you. Why is that okay?
Okay, so the first thing where you're saying that they're picking up American citizens, the reality is if they're picking up American citizens and they're actually staying detained and getting arrested, more than likely they committed an immigration crime. So whether it's harboring illegal aliens, transporting illegal aliens, aiding and abetting, these are all federal crimes.
Chicago. Well, whether or not it's a federal crime, what is illegal immigration first offense defined under? What is it defined as?
Okay, what, illegal entry?
Illegal entry. What is it defined as?
Yeah, that's 8 U.S.C. 1325.
It's a what though? It's a misdemeanor, correct?
No, it's not. It's a crime. Here's the thing. It's a crime, all right, and then illegal. You could say it's a misdemeanor. But it is.
But I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying. That's what it is.
Okay, but you're still deportable for coming in illegally.
Okay, fine. But
whether it's a misdemeanor or not,
why are we deporting people who are actively going through the process? Why are we picking up people? Why are we arresting?
They have no status.
Why are we arresting American citizens in the night? They are just detained, but we're still breaking in, busting down American doors of American citizens that look like me and you. So why is that okay?
Here's the thing, and this is why it's very important to understand. They might have a criminal arrest warrant for an individual who is harboring aliens, who might be a U.S. citizen. That's what allows them to kick the door in. And then any other illegal aliens that they come across, they can grab. Now,
so we're allowed to get picked up. Sorry, go ahead.
They can conduct what's called an immigration inspection. And that is where they determine their alienage and their citizenship. If the American citizens are not criminals and they're not harboring aliens or whatever else may be, and they're able to prove that they're a U.S. citizen, right, with their immigration inspection, they're fine. They'll be released. But the illegal aliens are the ones that get picked up once they get fingerprinted.
So the freedom we have in this country is the freedom of we might be harboring an illegal immigrant. So our kids can be zip-tied, brought out naked, right? Even though we're not harboring, brought out naked into the streets of Chicago, put in U-Haul vans, separated from their families because they might be harboring an illegal immigrant. That doesn't even make sense, brother.
They're conducting an investigation. If they go into a house.
With Apache helicopters?
Or if they're look, we don't dictate how law enforcement does their operations. Like, they're going to do their operations in a way where they can stay safe. Like, there's a bunch of tactical reasons as to why law enforcement does the things that they do. So, yeah, and
So wait. You're telling me they have to use an Apache helicopter on a building where the majority of the people staying in this apartment building are, in fact, American citizens to keep us safe. How many Americans do they have to round up and zip tie, and how many children got to round up to keep us safe?
Well, again, Chicago has a very bad crime problem. One of the worst cities in the United States.
Memphis is the worst.
Okay, that's why I said one of. Okay, Memphis, Detroit, Chicago, all these blue cities have problems. So the reality is, them running an Apache helicopter and rappelling in or whatever, that's tactics. That's a whole other thing. Like, some people might look at it like, oh, that's aggressive. That's, we don't need all that. Well, the reality is, the more aggressive you come in as law enforcement, the less likely they're going to resist where a use of force incident actually occurs. This is why law enforcement employs overwhelming force in the beginning to deter individuals for trying to retaliate, and it actually makes everyone else safer.
They're threatening and using pepper spray, tear gas on what is it called? On ambulance vehicles, right? On vehicles that are trying to administer aid to protesters. ICE is doing that. I understand you really can't defend. You really can't defend.
Violence against law enforcement, especially immigration officials, has skyrocketed since the administration started.
Because they're wrong.
No, they're not.
Because
they're enforcing the law.
There's not a better way to enforce the law. You have to scare and terrify American children.
We do not as civilians. We do not dictate how law enforcement does their tactics
we should.
And here's the problem. Did you serve in the military or anything?
No, I've never served. Sir.
Okay, then that's fine. And the reason why I say this is because I'm a former special agent with Homeland.
Oh,
so I understand this stuff. You don't dictate to law enforcement how they're going to go ahead and carry out an arrest, because they're doing things from a perspective to ensure that everyone is safe. Now, you might look at it as a civilian to say, oh my God, this is overwhelming. Why are they doing that? There's a tactical reason as to why they do the things that they do. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather be the one coming in with the hard force, because I am more trained. I understand muzzle discipline, trigger discipline, etc. So if I come in aggressively, tactically, and overwhelm the individual, I know I can take them into custody swiftly where everyone else is safe.
You know what else has skyrocketed? What else has skyrocketed is police brutality against American civilians. What also has skyrocketed is wrongful convictions and wrongful arrest. What also has skyrocketed is the militarization of our police. These are all things that have skyrocketed.
Police brutality typically comes when retards resist cops.
Hey now, we ain't got to use the R word.
I mean, if you resist the police, you are by definition a retard.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Don't we have a constitutional right to resist?
No, you don't actually.
Right? If
they're operating in a lawful manner, and they say, hey, you're being detained or you're being arrested, you do not resist.
But they're not interpreting the law correctly, right? They're stepping all
over
the top.
That's not up to you to make that. That's not up to you to make that decision.
Are we a country? I'm sorry. Excuse me. Are we a country of we the people, or are we the military?
So this is what smart people do.
Oh, now you're going to start
if the cops come up to you, right, and they're not detaining you or whatever, you ask, am I free to leave? If they say no, you're being detained, you be detained and you be quiet. If they arrest you, you go to jail, you call your lawyer. The less you say, the better. The less you resist, you better. And then you fight it out in court.
Right, but those are stepping on the. As a black person, I'm taught that as a young black person. When I was a black child, you're taught to be respectful towards the police.
Yep.
The problem is we shouldn't have to be. But resisting with my mouth, say I'm being arrested, I can talk as much shit as I want, right? And legally, I should be able to talk, right, in a country that's supposedly freedom of speech, right?
Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
That's the point, is us being able to exercise our rights.
We also have to have some level of common sense. If a cop is arresting you and you're saying you fucking stupid ass pig, blah blah blah, and disrespecting them and escalating the situation, that is probably going to create problems.
Where does the common sense come in on the officer side, where they're not really being fired? They're just like they're getting paid leave.
There's bad cops everywhere, yeah.
But
the reality is that's a fraction. Most cops are good people, law-abiding citizens.
I can't tell.
And honestly, if you show them respect, they're going to show you respect. But the problem is, especially in the black community, is they have a victim mindset, they have a victim narrative. All the cops are against them. Systemic racism, blah blah blah. But the reality is they behave like fucking idiots.
What group of people is the most exonerated race as far as like wrongful conviction? Who has the highest, as far as race, who has the highest wrongful conviction and who has the highest exoneration? What race
Tell
of
me,
people?
go ahead. Is it black people?
It's black people, brother.
Okay.
We're the most wrongfully arrested. We're overrepresented in the prisons. Even though that we use drugs at the same amount as our white brothers and sisters, we're still overly policed for drugs and crime.
But they dominate when it comes to violent crime, while only being a disproportionate amount of the population.
When are we going to talk about white-on-white crime? When are we going to talk about white-on-white crime?
It happens.
It happens at who?
I mean, it just happened with...
who victimizes white people more? We don't got to talk about that, but who victimizes white people more? What race of people?
Well, typically, people kill each other, their own
Fair
race.
enough.
Their own race.
Yes, you're right.
But the reality is, as a white person, you're about 11 times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around.
That's not true. You're
That
more
is
likely.
absolutely
You're
true.
more likely to be
That
killed.
is absolutely true.
You're more likely to be killed, right? You're more likely to be killed
By your own
some
race.
by some of your own race. You're more likely if you are the daughter of a white man or a white person, more likely to be abused. You're more likely to be stolen from a white person. And we know that there's a shit ton of police bias because we have a ton of statistics to show that there's a ton of police bias against the African American community. And to sit here and say, oh, we have a victim mindset, it completely erases. It completely erases. Did they not put crack in black neighborhoods? Did they not put cocaine and crack in black neighborhoods?
Okay. We do have to, I mean, are all black people stupid?
I don't know.
Okay.
Are all white people stupid?
Do they have agency?
Okay.
Okay, so if they have agency and they're not stupid, then if they put crack into neighborhoods, don't sell it.
Okay. You know that's not the way that works. That's not. You know
don't
that's not
sell
the way
it.
That, you know that is not.
Don't
the way
sell
that,
it.
It was so what? So I have a question for you.
Because
What responsibility does the United States government have for what they did? What responsibility does the United States government have for what happened with the crack epidemic? And we both agree that happened. That our neighborhoods were flooded with crack by our government. We both agree that.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, I mean, but like, but here's the thing, man. Like, you know, the government does a lot of stupid shit. Don't take the bait.
But we got to look at black people. Oh, they're being victims. We're not going to talk about the victimizers. We're just going to talk about the victims. Come on, brother.
No, man. Here's the thing. If you want to be treated like an equal and you want to be taken seriously and you want agency, then you must be able to deal with the consequences of your freedoms. And no one puts a gun in your head and says, sell crack, bro. Nobody goes out and tells you, sell that brick, get that cocaine. Black people do it because a lot of the times they have a toxic mindset, no father figure.
So you're agreeing that like the United States government, the police force, the CIA put these drugs in the neighborhood, yet they have no responsibility over what they did or tried to or go against black neighborhoods and black communities.
That's even more so.
All the black communities' fault. They have all the even though there was redlining.
Because they had a choice to make.
You're holding us away from.
They had a choice to make.
Yeah, but what? Okay, but what? The government had a choice too.
Okay.
Where is the
if you buy a gun and the gun shop sells the gun to you, and you use gun to kill someone, is it the gun shop's fault for selling you the gun? No,
we're not talking about guns. We're talking about human beings. We're talking about communities. We're talking about real lives, right? We're not talking about guns. We're talking about real. We're not talking about like this very weird analog thing. We're talking about the fact.
Choice.
We're talking about the fact that there was redlining. We're talking about the fact that black people have been kept from wealth forever. We're talking about the fact that we have been over-policed, right? And you just admitted and you agree with the fact that they put drugs in our mother-loving neighborhoods. But the government, these organizations, they have no responsibility. It's all on the communities that they affected, that they victimized, that they destroyed for years and years with legislation, with money.
Here's the reality.
With power, with drugs.
There is no doubt that the United States was built upon racism, and there was racism in the past and all the other horrible things, right? I'm acknowledging that. However, in 2025, racism is no longer a valid excuse to be an idiot or to be poor or to be fat or to be a loser.
The government just said it was a valid excuse for ICE to stop people. But profiling.
Yeah.
Which is a racist practice. Yes, sir, or no, sir?
I mean, here's the thing. It's not just profiling. A lot of times it's what neighborhood are they in, who are they hanging with, what are they doing. You know what I mean? It's called I call it active policing.
So I'd like to summarize. Yeah. So black people are only responsible for all the shit.
I don't know how we got to black people from immigration.
But you indulge the conversation. But I'll go back to immigration. Let's
sure.
So these communities that have been racially profiled by our government now is in control of another government agency that is profiling people of color, coming into neighborhoods, busting open the doors of American citizens who may or may not be hiding anyone. That's what's happening. And you're saying they did nothing wrong. To summarize, thank you guys very much.
No, that's not. at all. It's they broke the immigration law and they're getting arrested for being here illegally and they don't have status. That's why they're getting picked up at the immigration courts.
Why are kids being put in zip ties? Why are American children being put in zip ties? Give me a good reason. Give me a good reason.
Here's again. Kids can get guns. We don't know what's going on. We don't know. Here's the thing.
There's a photo of a toddler in a zip tie. That toddler got a gun in the diaper.
Law enforcement, when they go into these houses, right? Again, and this is the problem when I talk with like people that aren't trained tactically. When you're going into,
that's a great way to subjugate my argument.
Yeah, because the problem here is that you don't like the methodology of how they're conducting things. But what I'm trying to explain to you is there's certain tactical procedures that you put into place where you know you're not going to hurt those individuals if they're all restrained and detained to a degree. And you're going to go ahead and detain everybody until you figure out what's going on, what you got. Then you can release them after.
Who funds our law enforcement?
The government.
The government is paid
the government, and the government is funded by us.
Yeah, the taxpayers. So when you say things like,
and the taxpayers voted for this.
When you say,
we voted for mass deportations.
Let's not talk about the fact that like 15 million Democrats,
he won.
15 million Democrats did
the American public wants the mass
deportations.
deportations.
Did you vote for Trump?
Fuck yeah, I voted for Trump.
Why did you vote for Trump, my brother? Oh man.
To send these people back, to make sure we don't have a female president. And
oh man,
I don't like what he's doing with Israel. That's probably one of my grievances. But we can't have a female president.
Thank you very much for your time. I learned nothing. Thank you.
Well, the reality is that your worldview is wrong. Okay? There you go. Systemic racism.
Hi, how are
That's
you?
why no one takes black people seriously anymore. What's up?
I just had a question. I was talking over there. I was wondering, like, what are your viewpoints on, like, capitalism in America? Like, I understand, like, your opinions on, like, Israel and donating, like, billions to them and how you disagree with that.
Speak up so everybody can hear you.
So, like, my question is if you're, like, truly, like, for America, how do you feel about the idea of socialism being implemented into the U.S.?
So, that's a good question. Now, when it comes to capitalism, I like it, but every single, economic practice is going to have plus and negatives.
Right.
One of the negatives is when it comes to, for example, healthcare, right? Capitalism and healthcare kind of sucks because when you have a for-profit industry that is supposed to be taking care of people, what ends up happening is the pharmaceutical companies are more concerned with keeping you on the drugs versus actually helping you because they make more money by doing so. So I do think that there's a conflict of interest there when you incentivize pharmaceutical companies to keep people sick. But at the same time, when it comes to capitalism also allows for innovation. It allows for people to come up with new methodology to deal with illnesses, etc. So it's almost like a catch-22. And we need to find some middle ground where these companies are still incentivized to come out with breakthrough technology to help people live better quality lives and help them live longer and improve their health, while simultaneously staving off the inherent greed in the healthcare industry, right? Because I know we all probably have people that we love that need their insulin, that are getting older, and we want them to live as long as possible. We don't want predatory pharmaceutical companies and medical industry doing anything. But I would say when it comes to making things more affordable, when it comes to the older people and the children and everything else like that, I see a perspective. But socialism in other ways, I think, can create inherent problems. But I do think that we need to take care of our elderly and our young and vulnerable when it comes to healthcare and not try to profiteer off of them.
Right, and I'd agree. I think just the issue is, like, do you think we live in kind of society of, like, our culture is, like, U.S. culture is more greedy than other states or countries?
100%. I mean, the reality is the reason why this country is so great is because of our capitalism. This is why so many people come here, even from other first world countries, because they simply don't have the financial opportunities that they have in those countries due to this socialist problem that we're discussing. So it's kind of one of the things that sucks where you want to be able to be capitalistic and be able to make as much money as possible, but at the same time you do have a moral obligation to take care of your old and your young and your vulnerable. So we have to find a middle ground where we can still push innovation while simultaneously taking care of people in the United States. And I don't think anybody should ever be dying when we have medicine and technology to save people, right? So we just got to be able to figure this out and get to some middle ground.
That's all my questions.
No worries,
Thank
man.
you.
Good question. All right. Who's up next?
Hello.
What's up?
Can I give a shout out before I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to shout out my friend Kenner Cuevas from West New York, New Jersey.